My mother demanded I drop everything to take care of her because that's what children are for. When I refused, she cried to my siblings and sobbed. She wants me to die alone. My brother called, yelling at me, until I pulled up my calendar and said, "Then let's compare how much time we've both spent taking care of her." I was at my desk in my New York apartment when my phone buzzed. It was my mother, Margaret, calling from Chicago. I answered, and after some small talk, she got straight to the point. "Anna, I need you to come back home," she said firmly. I was surprised. "Mom, what's going on?" "I'm getting older, and I need someone to take care of me," she replied. "You're my daughter. It's your responsibility." I took a deep breath. "Mom, I have a career here in New York. I can't just leave everything behind." She sighed heavily. "I took care of you when you were young. Now it's your turn to take care of me." "Mom, I understand you're getting older, but I can't move back to Chicago right now," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. She didn't respond, and after a moment, she ended the call abruptly. The next day, my brother Daniel called. As soon as I picked up, he started yelling. "Anna, how could you refuse Mom like that? She told me you're abandoning her." "Daniel, did she tell you she wants me to quit my job and move back to Chicago indefinitely?" I asked. He paused. "No, but she's our mother. We need to be there for her." "Exactly, Daniel. We. Not just me," I said. "How much time have you spent with her recently?" There was silence on the line. "Look," I continued, "I've been the one visiting during holidays, calling her every week." "When was the last time you did that?" He didn't answer. A week later, I got a call from an unknown number. "Anna? This is Linda, your mom's neighbor." "Hi, Linda. Is everything okay?" "Not really. Your mom had a fall today." "She's okay, but I thought you should know." Panic surged through me. I thanked Linda and immediately called my mother. "Mom, why didn't you tell me you fell?" "It's nothing," she dismissed. "Just a little tumble. Maybe it's time we consider getting you some help at home," I suggested gently. "I don't need a stranger in my house. I need my daughter." The pressure was mounting. Torn between my career and my duty as a daughter, I felt like I was being pulled in two directions. After discussing with friends and seeking advice, I decided to take a week off and visit my mother. Maybe seeing things firsthand would help me make a clearer decision. Upon arriving, it was evident that she was struggling more than she let on. The house was in disarray, and she looked more frail than I remembered. "Mom, we need to talk," I began, sitting her down. "I can't move back permanently, but I want to ensure you're taken care of." She looked away, tears brimming in her eyes. "I just don't want to be alone." "I understand," I said, holding her hand. "How about we look into assisted living facilities? That way, you'll have company and the care you need." She was resistant at first, but after visiting a few places and seeing the vibrant communities, she warmed up to the idea. Daniel and Michael stepped up as well, realizing the unfair burden that had been placed on me. Together, we found a lovely facility not far from our family home. Mom moved in a month later, and to my surprise, she seemed happier, engaging in activities and making new friends. This journey taught me the importance of setting boundaries, communicating openly, and sharing responsibilities. Family dynamics are never simple, but with understanding and cooperation, solutions can be found that respect everyone's needs. It was going okay for a while. After Mom moved into the facility, things seemed to calm down. She was eating better, she was safer, and most importantly, she wasn't alone anymore. I felt a huge weight lift. I started sleeping better. I got back into the flow of work. I thought the hardest part was over. Then the phone calls started again. It was Daniel this time. "You convinced her to live in a nursing home just so you wouldn't have to do your part?" I blinked. "What?" "Mom's been crying. She says you dumped her there. She said you told her she was a burden." "That's not true," I snapped. "She picked that place herself. She even said she liked the garden. She's miserable now, Anna. You should have just come home." You mean like you didn't? I shot back. When she fell, where were you? When she couldn't walk to the mailbox, who got on the plane? Who spent nights cleaning that house because it smelled like spoiled milk and mothballs? He was quiet for a moment. Don't turn this into a competition. No, I said. Let's turn it into accountability. I hung up. The next day, I got a text from Michael. We need to talk. Don't ignore this. I didn't answer. A week later, I was told my mother had refused to go to any group activities. She was skipping meals. She stopped opening her blinds. When I called, she was cold, saying she didn't want to talk. The staff at the facility told me she'd started telling everyone her daughter abandoned her. My stomach twisted. I called Daniel and Michael for a Zoom call. Let's clear this up, I said. She's turning people against me. Michael looked uncomfortable. She told us she begged you to bring her home and you laughed. What? I was stunned. She cried in my arms when we found that place. She said it was the first time she felt safe in months. I don't know what's true anymore, Michael mumbled. Daniel crossed his arms. We should have just hired someone to move in with her. You rushed the decision. She had a fall. I yelled. There were ants in her sink, expired food in the fridge. She hadn't bathed in days. But yeah, I guess I rushed it. After the call, I got a voice message from Mom. She sounded small. I heard you told your brothers I was crazy. I sat down. My chest was tight. I hadn't said that. Not once. Then came the kicker, a letter. Not an email. A printed, typed letter mailed to me from a lawyer's office in Chicago. It said my mother was exploring options to transfer her medical proxy and decision-making power to Daniel. She was alleging emotional neglect on my part. The word neglect felt like a slap. After everything, I called the facility immediately. They confirmed she'd been meeting with a lawyer who visited her twice. They also said Daniel had come by last weekend and spent over 3 hours alone with her. I called Daniel. He didn't answer. I called Michael. What's going on? He sighed. Daniel said maybe she needs someone she can trust. So now I'm not trustworthy? I didn't say that. She made me the proxy because I was the only one who actually showed up. You made decisions without us. Because you weren't there. A few days later, I got an email from Mom. It said, I trusted you to be my daughter, not my warden. I hope one day you'll understand what it's like to be left behind. She ended it with a sentence that kept echoing in my mind. A mother never forgets who was there and who wasn't. The next day, a social worker from the facility called. Mom had refused her medication for 2 days. She wasn't eating. They asked me to come to Chicago. I booked the earliest flight. When I got there, she wouldn't look at me. Her room was dark. Curtains closed. Photos of my brothers on the table. Not one of me. I sat beside her bed. I'm here, I whispered. You shouldn't have come, she said without turning. I'm still your daughter. You chose your life over me. I chose sanity, I said, more to myself than to her. No response. Then she said, I changed my proxy. Daniel will make the calls now. I didn't answer. I just nodded. My heart sank. My throat burned, but I didn't cry. I had cried too many times already. I walked out and called Daniel. Why would you agree to this? I asked. He said, she needs someone who respects her wishes. She's spiraling, Dan. And you're feeding it. Maybe you just couldn't handle being the one in charge. The next day, I got a call from Michael. She told Daniel she wants to sell the house. Move in with him. I nearly dropped the phone. She's going to sell the house? I asked. That's what she said. I laughed bitterly. He couldn't be bothered to visit once a year. Now she wants to live with him. She says he understands her, Michael said, almost defensively. Good luck to him then, I said. He'll last a week. Michael didn't say anything. I didn't fly back to New York. Not yet. I stayed in a hotel 10 minutes from the facility, watching it all unfold like a play I wasn't part of anymore. I didn't visit the next day. Or the day after. 3 days passed and I stayed in that hotel, unsure what I was waiting for. I kept checking my phone like I expected something. Maybe for mom to call. Maybe an apology. But there was nothing. Just silence. On the fourth morning, my phone rang. Unknown number again. Hi, this is Carla. I'm the nurse manager at the facility. Can we talk? My stomach dropped. Is my mom okay? She's physically stable. But something's come up. What is it? We've noticed a few things missing from her room. Jewelry. A watch. Some cash. My chest tightened. What? She's been saying she gave them to someone. But she won't say who. I didn't have to guess. Did Daniel visit recently? I asked. There was a pause. He was here the day before yesterday. He stayed a few hours. She gave him her things, didn't she? She wouldn't say. But we're required to document and notify family when personal items go missing. I thanked her and hung up. Immediately, I called Daniel. He didn't answer. I texted him. Did mom give you her jewelry and cash? Staff says it's missing. No reply. I called Michael. Have you talked to Daniel? Not since the house thing. She's missing things. Staff thinks she gave them to someone. He visited 2 days ago. Oh. Yeah. Oh. Later that evening, I went to the facility. Mom didn't expect me. She looked tired, like all the drama had caught up to her. I heard about your things, I said. She didn't say anything. Did you give them to Daniel? Still nothing. Mom, he's not going to take care of you like you think. She turned to me, eyes sharp. At least he listens. Does he? Or is he telling you what you want to hear? She looked away. I left. The next morning, Michael called me. I just got off the phone with Daniel, he said. He's thinking of quitting his job. Said he'll be her full-time caregiver if she moves in. I almost laughed. He can't even keep a goldfish alive. He thinks he can take care of mom. Michael sighed. He says if we all pitch in, there it is. I interrupted. If we pitch in. But somehow I always end up being the one on the plane, in the house, in the hospital. Look, Michael said, I think mom's confused. And Daniel is opportunistic. But if she signs over power of attorney, we're stuck. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I went to the facility office and asked for a meeting with their lawyer and social worker. I wanted to know what was legally happening behind the scenes. Turns out, the power of attorney change hadn't been finalized yet. She hadn't signed, but the paperwork was filed. If she signs, you'll lose all legal authority, the lawyer said. And Daniel will be responsible for all medical and financial decisions. What happens if I contest it? I asked. You can, but it gets messy. The court could get involved. It would become a guardianship hearing. Later that day, I sat with mom again. She looked at me like I was a stranger. I know you're upset, I said quietly. But you don't see what he's doing. He's helping me, she whispered. No, he's helping himself. She stared at her lap. Her hands trembled slightly. I noticed her fingers were bare now. No rings. He asked you to sign, didn't he? She didn't answer. He's not doing this for you. He's doing it for control. I don't want to be alone, she said again, her voice small. I reached for her hand. You don't have to be. But I won't let him use you. That night, I got a text from Michael. Just one line, he listed her house. It's already on Zillow. I sat up in bed. I called the real estate agent listed. Posed as a buyer. Asked for the showing schedule. He's very motivated to sell, the agent said. Says it's time his mother moved on from that place. She doesn't even know it's listed, I said aloud, more to myself than to the agent. He's her son. He said he had power of attorney. He doesn't, I snapped. Not yet. I ended the call and immediately emailed the facility lawyer. We need to stop that listing. She doesn't know it's happening. The next morning, I was back in the lawyer's office. They issued a temporary hold. Since the paperwork wasn't signed yet, and because she was technically still mentally competent, any sale would be considered fraud if it moved forward. I called Daniel again. This time, he answered. What the hell are you doing? I demanded. I'm helping mom move on. You're selling her house without her knowledge. She doesn't need it. She told me she wants to live with me. She's being manipulated and you know it. You weren't going to do anything. You just dumped her here. I protected her. You're trying to drain her. He hung up. That night, I visited Mom again. I showed her the Zillow listing on my phone. Her hand flew to her mouth. I didn't tell him to do that, she whispered. I stopped it. But you have to see what's happening. Tears welled in her eyes. She looked more fragile than ever. I thought he just wanted to help. Mom, I said gently, you have two choices. Let him take control or let me help you for real. No manipulation. No lies. She stared at the screen, her house up for sale like it was a used car. And still, she didn't give an answer. 2 days passed before I heard anything. Then I got a voicemail from Mom. Her voice was shaky. I need you to come. I need to talk. Alone. I drove straight to the facility. She was in her room, sitting by the window this time, the curtains open. That alone was strange. She looked pale, but clearer, like something had clicked. She didn't waste time. I told the lawyer I'm not signing anything. Daniel won't get power of attorney, and I'm removing him from my bank account. I sat down across from her, stunned. I'm not doing this out of love, she added, her voice cold. I'm doing it because he lied. She stared straight at me. He sold the living room furniture. Said it was to help pay for moving costs. What? I said. He already started selling stuff? She nodded. The man who picked it up said he found the ad online. Daniel never asked. I rubbed my face. I wanted to scream. I told him I was staying here. That I needed more time. He said I was confused. That I already agreed. And you believed him? I asked. I did, she said. Because I wanted to. Because he made me feel needed. There was silence between us for a minute. I've been a bad mother, she said flatly. I told myself I was strong. But I was just controlling. I didn't speak. I used guilt like a knife. I made you feel like it was your job to give up your life for mine. My throat tightened. I just wanted to live my life and not be hated for it. She nodded. Daniel was just doing what I taught him. Take what you can. Push the rest on someone else. I swallowed hard. So what happens now? I'm filing a restraining order against Daniel. My eyes widened. That's serious. So is stealing from your own mother. She wasn't done. I've changed my will. He gets nothing. I exhaled slowly. Michael's getting a small share. He stayed out of it. He wasn't helpful, but he wasn't cruel either. And me? I asked, my voice low. She looked at me for a long time. You get the house. I stared. You're going to sell it, I know, she said. I want you to. Use it to rebuild your life. She paused. I made you carry too much. Now I'm giving something back. It hit me then, how heavy it all had been. The fights. The silence. The blame. I don't want revenge, I said quietly. You deserve more than apologies, she replied. You deserve to be free. Daniel found out 2 days later. He showed up at the facility furious. Security wouldn't let him in. The staff had been briefed. He sent me texts, voice messages. He even called Michael, begging him to intervene. He posted on Facebook, saying I brainwashed our mother, that I was stealing from her. I didn't respond. I had screenshots, copies of the will. The facility had incident reports and witness statements. Then the worst blow came for him. The police knocked on his door. He wasn't arrested, but they took statements about the missing jewelry and furniture. Mom filed an official report. He lost his job 2 weeks later. Apparently, they didn't like seeing elder financial abuse mentioned in a public complaint. Michael called me. Was that really necessary? He asked. She gave him everything. He threw it in the trash. But she didn't have to destroy him. She didn't. He did that on his own. Daniel tried to sue her for mental instability and being coerced. His case didn't even make it past the first hearing. The judge told him, you cannot claim coercion while simultaneously listing her belongings for sale online. Mom didn't gloat. She just faded a little after that. Calmer. Quieter. She stopped calling me every day. One afternoon, I visited. We sat outside in the garden. "I'm sorry it all had to burn," she said, watching the wind blow through the trees. "Maybe it had to," I said, "so something new could grow." A month later, she passed away in her sleep. Peacefully. No pain. No drama. I was the one who got the call. I arranged everything. The funeral. The house. The final affairs. Daniel didn't show up. Michael did. He stood in the back, didn't say much. The day I signed the papers to sell the house, I stood on the porch one last time. That house held so many ghosts. Screaming matches. Silent dinners. Guilt woven into every room. As I walked down the front steps, I felt something loosen in my chest. Daniel lost everything he thought he deserved. Mom lost control, then found clarity. And me? I finally walked away from the fire. Not untouched, but alive.